Welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. My special guest today, Rain Brown, is back. Rain, but she's added something to her last name, Rain Brown-LORTON. She recently got married to Josiah. He's here as well. We've been talking about her story, Rain's story specifically, um, and offering advice, offering uh, really good advice on what you could do if you're suffering with any pain. um, Help is available. You can dial 988. That's a suicide and crisis lifeline. They've it's in English and Spanish. It's available 24 hours a day. Welcome back, Rain and Josiah.
Glad to be here.
Welcome back. So let's talk about let's recap, for people that are just tuning in, what works for you, Rain. What are some of the things that really help you through the day, and when you're feeling low, what helps battle those demons back?
You hear that dog barking in the background? No. He's a service animal, so I say that.
No,
But
I didn't hear it. I just heard a motorcycle in my background.
that's fine. But I would say just like the little like consistencies again, like having a routine helps. Even if it's not a solid, super structured routine where like everything has to be a certain way to be able to do it. Just if it is like a series of things that you do before you're like awake, for instance. Like for instance, in the morning, right? Like my Josiah and I will sit in bed and we'll, look at YouTube or just talk or we'll read together and then we drink coffee and then we'll take our medication, then dress and go out for the day. It's very, mundane things, but in that being mundane, I think that it helps create a sort of structure and protection
A,
from
a
things.
routine.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, a routine for it. And that's very important. And like writing, or like to me, I don't like to write in journals. That was a bad experience when I was younger. But I'm trying to get back into it. But I like to just type in my notes, on my iPad or something. And it really helps you just vent out just to whoever, you know, say their names in the letter. You know what I mean? Like write a letter to people that have wronged you. You don't have to send it, or do send it if it makes you feel better. I would just say anything that you can do to make yourself feel better that doesn't bring physical or mental or bodily harm to another human being, do it. There is no wrong move. If it makes you happy and it keeps you alive, keep doing what you're doing because apparently it's working for you. Nothing is going to be one to one. No two routines are going to be the same. We all have our different little idiosyncrasies. But aside from that, I feel like if you have structure, you have kind of a roof over your head.
Yeah, it's a good advice. You mentioned before we started the show, comedy is big for you. Comedy helps you. Does it help you mentally as
Yes.
well?
Yes, you have to find the humor in it. And if I have kind of a morbid sense of humor, I'm not gonna lie. Like he does too. We laugh at things
Where do
that
you
no one
where
else
do you
is
get that
laughing
from?
at. I have no idea. I don't know, because my mom doesn't really have that same sense of humor. My dad didn't really either. My mom's very like serious and she doesn't joke around a lot. My dad was a jokester, but even he wasn't as bad as I am.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that if you can smile and you can laugh at whatever you're facing, be it fear, because I think that a lot of mental conditions are based around fear. If you look at it with schizophrenia, there's paranoia, that's fear based. With bipolar, there's psychosis, that's fear based. With depression, there's dissociation, that's also fear based. Anxiety, dissociation, things like that. Yeah, and my mom just tuned in too, and she said, "Laugh in the face of adversity."
Yeah.
And I think I love that quote because you have to, you have to kind of make fun of it a little bit, and you'll start to notice, in your life too. You'll be like, oh, okay, one situation you'll try and laugh at it, and then before you know it, you'll actually be just laughing at it because you find it funny, like your car broke down again. You know what I
Again,
mean? And it just like, if you look at your life as if it's like a movie or a story that you're like a book that you're reading or like a movie that you're watching, and you just portray yourself how you would want to be seen and
yeah.
portray yourself as the best version of you, I feel like that's the best way to do it. Maybe that's just because I grew up in television. I don't know, but that's just what kind of
Well, and I would take advice, any advice your mom gave or
exactly.
gives. Your mom has faced some adversity. Hi, mom. She's she's in the background there. She's faced some adversity. So if she gave that advice, I would that's got to be good advice. Just laugh in the face of it. Um, so how about you, Josiah? What works for you? What works for you that you think others would work for others as well?
Is to remind yourself that uh, any of the situations or problems that may arise in your life, whether it be the passing of a family member, the loss of a pet, a bad relationship, whatever it is every moment is precious, and even in those bads, you can always find a moment to grow internally, spiritually, and to remind yourself that it's only temporary. I mean, you think, oh yeah, you lose family members, and in well, where the afterlife and all that. There's all those other questions of what ifs and what wheres, and it's just remind yourself that it's, I guess, above your pay grade. just
Yeah,
just
It's not your
keep
job.
a small. It's not
yeah,
not necessarily your job to understand it
yeah.
all, but it's to take what you can and understand it in various ways.
Where do you get your strength, Josiah? You seem like a very strong person.
Just facing so much adversity and so much strife. I've lived a very not fun life, and with just a negative outlook on everything, and tried to turn that negativity into positivity.
Where does that
And
strength come from, though? Where do you think it comes from? What do you call on aside from rain?
just myself to know that
Yeah,
you're
confidence in
strong.
yourself.
Yeah, you're strong enough to withstand it all. Like, it doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down. You better pick yourself back up. You have a thing to do.
Yeah.
Whatever that thing may be. Everybody has a purpose in their life, and it's easier once you find that purpose to coexist with the way the rest of the world is.
Rain, you've dealt with you've been up close and personal with the medical profession and from the stigma to diagnosis to treatments. Where do you think we're going wrong there? What would your advice be that might be helpful to change to make some real change in that in the medical profession?
So much.
So much.
Yeah, I mean, first off, just patient care. A lot of these, uh, a lot of these, you know, my mom's distracting me. What did you say, mom?
The storms of life come and go.
Yeah, the stars of life come and go, right? And I think that's very true. But I think the main thing is the system is failing on is the care aspect of it all. You see movies where they're being electrocuted and put in hot baths and things like that. And you look at it and like, oh, they don't do that anymore, but they do, and they just don't talk about it. It's not publicized anymore because you have to sign papers to say you can't talk about it, and sometimes you have to go to court and get it expunged so you're able to view your own records. Like it can be terrifying and it can be very hard to be going through all of that,
Yeah,
and
not
especially
helpful.
no, and especially it takes so long just to get a proper diagnosis, and actually it took me 2 stays at the hospital. One was 4 months, the other was for 2 weeks. to really realize like what I need, where I need to be.
Mm.
And it was this guy. He saved me. I was in a terrible relationship that doesn't even worth mentioning with a horrible person. And he was kind of in the same boat. And we were fast friends and we fell madly in love with each other.
That was the story.
So one of the, I think if I'm reading between the lines, one of the things that you would recommend is find someone that find a true love, that someone that
Yeah.
can support you and be there for you.
In every form too,
Yeah.
regardless.
And if you don't find your other half, you'll always be half of a whole. But when I
you're already quotable, Rain. You're already, I can see your, yes, I can see your whole book coming together. I can see whatever you put out there. I really like this, and I hope you continue your advocacy work. What in the best case scenario, what would you like to see happen?
I would like to see care facilities that facilitate based off of how to deal with your mental illness, not keeping you locked away and feeding you pills. And if you don't take your pills, you get shots and being strapped down to tables. And it's really a horrifying experience. It's not talked about because it's traumatizing. Yeah. And, it's not, I don't feel like that's okay. I feel like it should be more of a getaway for people. I mean, gosh, you're struggling enough. Why you gotta make it worse on us,
Right, right.
And I think that like a shamanic healing center would be the best thing. That's our dream together, is to build a center where it's not focused on, oh, you have this disorder, take these 8 pills. It's more focused on, oh, you feel this way, let's do this to help you feel better. You know what I mean? Like,
and
based more in things that are longer lasting.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that idea. And couldn't you see more of, I mean, almost like people go to a spa.
Yeah, it's essentially
rather than
in
going
that
into
form.
these, rather than going into these sterile, horrible medical rooms,
I mean,
take people outdoors, take people, give them fresh air, let them relax and not
show them how to be sustainable in oneself.
And I think should be like, I think there should be like a life school, like a school that you can go to that's just like for life skills for people that don't have them. You know what I mean? Like, because I remember when my dad's parents died, my grandparents, and my Aunt Kathy died. My dad didn't know how to make fried chicken, so he burnt it because he thought that's how they made it crispy, and like I was kind of the same way when I moved out. I moved out of my parents' house when I was 15, and I got this little trailer. Yeah. And I lived in there eating frozen SpaghettiOs and Tostino's pizzas for about almost a year. But
you're right. Yeah. There's not enough. We teach the wrong things. I think we tell
exactly
the home economics is gone. The music is gone. All these things are gone. And some of these basic. I mean, if I was taught finance, if I was taught how to bank, how to pay my bills, they don't even
teach you about taxes.
Yeah. Like but most importantly, it's getting to your point that, teach people life skills so that they can cope, so that it's not also overwhelming. I like it. So what would this place be called, and where would it be? This idea that you have, that you'd like to
not
build?
necessarily got a name for it yet, but it's essentially a part of the property of that was given to her by her parents up on the ranch, and it just be essentially it'd be essentially like low amenities. Like you'd have to realize the struggles of life when you have to haul your own water, you have to heat your own domain, and it's actually
it's rewarding.
Feed the animals.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I like it. Okay, let's take our final break and we'll come right back. I think you have updates maybe for us on some things. No? Okay. Well, we'll say
no.
We'll come right back.
I don't think so.
I spoiled it. A spoil alert, and there was nothing to spoil. I got everybody excited, and there was nothing to say. I got ahead of myself. Okay, well, we'll be right back with Rain Brown and Josiah. Rain Brown Lorton. I like that last name, Lorton, Lorton.
I do
And
too. It sounds
Rain,
better than Brown.
help is available if you need it. Dial 988. It's a suicide and a crisis lifeline for you. English and Spanish, and it's available 24 hours. Talk to somebody, right, Rain? Just talk to somebody.
Please.
How can, and if somebody does come to you and talk to you, the question is, how can I help? You can follow Rain on Instagram at RainCatherineBrown.L. We'll be right back.